I have a really exciting DIY project to share with you today. I'll be showing you how to turn a length of rope like this into this. That's right, today we'll be learning how to make a climbing rope rug, and more specifically, it's called the Ocean Plait mat. One of the things that I really like about the Ocean Plait mat is that it doesn't require any additional tools. You don't need a board or nails or any of the other things that some of the other rugs require. You just need your climbing rope or any cord for that matter, and that is it. Now, I do want to point out that it's not just limited to rugs. You could use paracord to make a pot grabber to protect your hands from the hot pot, or you could use paracord to make a placemat. The options are really endless, so be creative and think about how it might apply to you, and let's jump right in. To begin the process, you're going to want to make sure that most of your rope is on the left and there's just a little bit left over on the right. This will set you up for step one, and the first step is to make an overhand knot. So you'll make a loop in your rope or cord and then take the short end and thread it through the loop. Pretty simple so far, right? Hang in there. And so you have your overhand knot. You'll notice that if you loosen the knot just a little, you have a pretzel shape. Go ahead and stick 2 fingers in the top of those pretzel loops, and then you're going to want to just elongate the loops a little bit, or pull bunny ears, or however you want to describe that process. Then you'll notice that you have these 2 loops. Now you're going to want to flip the right loop over to the left. And once you've done that, you'll take the left loop and you're going to also flip that over to the left. So both loops go in the same direction, and this part's much easier with climbing rope than it is with paracord. But once you get the paracord to lay flat, it should look something like that. The next step is to take the left loop and cross it over the right loop. So you could also look at it as this is the top bite and this is the bottom bite. And once you've done that, now you're going to go back to working with this long end. So you'll take the long end and you'll go over the top bite, then under both sections of the bottom bite. So that's what that looks like. And then you're going to want to just pull that long end over the last part of the top bite. So just to make that a little more clear, this is the top bite. Notice that this long section of rope goes over the top of both parts of the top bite. And this is the bottom bite, and it goes under both of these sections of the bottom bite. So you'll go ahead and continue to pull that long end through, and you'll want to make sure that you do this somewhat gently so you don't ruin all of your progress this far, because sometimes if you get too carried away with pulling it, it can kind of mess things up, and you don't want that. So now that you've pulled the long end through, you're back to working with this short end. Go ahead and take the short end under here. So you're looping it around, and then it's going under this loop, and then over, and then under, and then over, and under. So that part, as you could tell, was just a basic weave. The good news is at this point in the process, you have the base knot established, and then the rest is relatively easy. It definitely takes some time, but hang in there because it's not complicated at all, and I've actually found it to be somewhat relaxing. But you'll take the long end and you'll just follow this strand. So the strand loops around and around, and it keeps going until it eventually gets back to the start. So you're going to just follow that pattern. As you can see, it goes under, so we're going to go under, then it goes over, so this strand has got to go over, then under, over, under, and then I usually pull all the slack through as I go, and you can see that this is a straight line, so it's fairly easy to pull all that slack through. It's true whether you're working with paracord or climbing rope, so I try and look for those long straight sections, and every time I go through a long straight section, I'll pull all the slack through, and then you're going to take the long end again and then just keep following that short section. Again, this is kind of a straight piece, so I'm going to pull all the cord through. And as you pull through, you're going to want to make sure that you keep the this tail end free and that you don't bury it. And it might seem kind of weird to mention that with paracord because I'm dealing with such a short segment, but if you just get carried away with climbing rope and then you toss all that excess over the end, it can bury that tail end relatively easy, and that's going to slow you down quite a bit. So make sure that you kind of throw the end far away and then all the excess stays away from the end, just so the end is easy to find and you can begin threading it easily the next time you need to start your weave. So again, I'm just following that short end. I'll put an annotation so if you get the general idea you can skip ahead, but for the rest of you I'm going to do one complete loop just to make it clear what you do after you finish the first loop. So I'm almost there, but you just keep pulling the long end through. Like I said, you'll want to make sure that there's no excess, that everything's paired up really neatly, because that'll make your rug look awesome in the end, or whatever you happen to be making. Like I said, there's a ton of different options that you can make with this weave. So it's not just climbing rope rugs, which is one of the things I really like about it. So now, as you can see, we're about to go back and start another loop. So it's really easy. You just keep following this end now. So as you can see, it goes around under these two and then over and then down and follows the weave again. So just so you see how that's done, I'm going to weave this and show you what it looks like. But it just keeps going around, and as you can see, we've started the third loop right here. All right, so I've woven this just about as tight as I can go. I don't think there's a way that I can weave it through anymore. I have both of these pieces right next to each other, so it looks like a good place to wrap up. So what I'll do is I'll take this and I'll flip it upside down, and we're just going to cut these two strands. Maybe. So we cut these two strands, and then we're going to want to just tack these underneath. So you'll take a lighter and singe the ends here. Basically hit it with a lighter. Climbing rope takes a while to heat up, but after you get it nice and molten, then you'll just take it and press it down into the bottom so that it seals. And then when you flip it over, you have your ocean plat mat. Now, like I said, you can use this as a, well, something this size would work well as a coaster, I guess. But, you know, with a climbing rope, it could be a doormat. With a lot more paracord, it could be a placemat. So use your imagination, come up with a project, and let us know what you think. We always love hearing what you think of these projects. So leave us a comment below. And if you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up or head on over to our YouTube channel to subscribe to show your support.